Is it just a Mercy rework?
Heroes never die.
Is it possible to bring back Scatter Arrow on the workshop? That would be fun to try. We can brainstorm that. So, the thing with Scatter Arrow is it's... I know one way we can do it, and it'd be kind of complicated, but it would be fine. So let me pull this up. So Scatter Arrow obviously works by, you have like walls and stuff, like you got a room, and then you got the Scatter Arrow, and it's gonna like bounce at normal, like whatever angle that the arrow came out from, it's gonna bounce a few times, and then at any point in this bounce, whether the person's here, if they're here, we're gonna connect it as a hit. We're gonna deal damage. We know how to do that. So what we would have to do is ray cast a line. You know how when we had like a beam weapon, so we have an enemy, we've got us, and we've got a beam weapon. That's possible. I have a tutorial about that pretty early on, actually. We just need to also add a beam that bounces off of angles. And something you could do is you could treat this beam as the first beam. And when we get to this point, we're going to create another beam that starts at the hit location of this one, and it's going to move out in the angle. So this is generic angle at this point, but I'll get to what that is. And we're going to repeat that a few times. But the angle can be calculated from what's called a normal. So I don't have the Overwatch Workshop up here, but a normal is the angle that a surface is. So if we have like, I'm bad at drawing surfaces, but so yeah, if you have a wall right here, the normal is like this line. It's like what that flat face points towards. So it would use some trig we would basically have to do, but you could cast a whole bunch of different rays. It sounds interesting. The only thing you would have to do is then add effects and find some sort of mechanic to have it only bounce a certain number of times or a random number of times. But this sounds like this might break my frames. What happens when you fall off the map? Isn't normal perpendicular to the surface? Yeah, that's the best way to say it. I always think of it as like if you were to bounce something off of it, it would, yeah, perpendicular to the surface works great. So that's how we would do Scatter Arrow. I might end up doing that. We'll see. Let me at least look and whoop. What is going on? Okay. So I'll start that. If anyone wants to jump in and, you know, do your worst, but I'm gonna be playing around with a few code blocks.
Arriving at Watchpoint Gibraltar.
So
Never stop fighting for what you believe in.
okay, so let's just, we might not finish this, but I just want to start experimenting with it. It was a good suggestion. Play on PS4, unfortunately. Yeah, it's unfortunate for the stream, but it's good that you at least play, am I right? So, wonder how I want to do this. Let's actually go to Hanzo. So,
With every death comes honor.
we're gonna want to replace. You know what would be cool? What if we just made Hanzo so cool that he both had Storm Arrow and Scatter Arrow, where each Storm Arrow scattered, like it bounced off a few walls? It would that be broken? I don't think it'd be broken because the way he is now is like Storm Arrow doesn't do much. You know, the point is, like, if you don't charge a full headshot or you hit a body shot, you just spray and pray until you finish up the kill. What making a scatter storm arrow would do is, if people are running away, maybe if I body shot them and they got behind cover, there's a small chance that I can be good at it, kind of like Sigma's thing, and be able to clean up. It would make him a bit more threatening. I don't know if he'd be more luck-based than he already is, but it'd be worth a shot. Yeah, what do you guys think? OP or balanced? What am I doing? Nope. Scatter+Storm arrow. So and then we'll make this for. So I'm not meaning 5 scatter arrows, sorry, maybe I wasn't clear. I'm meaning that each one of the storm arrows bounces, let's say, 2 times before its final trajectory, and then it'll despawn. So it's not like you can just totally light up a room. You can just bounce shot each storm arrow. It will be balanced at each bounce the damage is reduced. We could play with that. I feel like the only thing with that is it's kind of like for the. It makes you think that after the second or third bounce, like maybe it should only bounce once, and we should just have one chance to, because nobody in. So, you know, like when you play pool, you bounce it off the wall sometimes to hit a ball. And then some pro players can bounce it twice and hit a ball. But, like, once you get to 2 or 3 bounces, it's, like, so hard to predict. And especially if you have, like, a game where it's all in 3 dimensions and people are moving, nobody's going to calculate a shot that is like 2 or 3 bounces, so maybe it should just be 1 bounce. Alright, let's see. So let's make it for just Hanzo. Let me just check real quick. Here's oops. I always forget. So there's a little bit of fall off, but not a lot. That's the thing. So with Storm Arrow, like, the only hard part about this would be it would work really well if we could just raycast in a straight line. But the problem is there's some fall off to these arrows. Like, it's landing about where that yellow thing, like the top of that yellow thing. So a simple raycast would be probably the only way to do it. It would just feel kind of strange. Okay. Increase, can you do that? The only problem is we can't really we can't really use the actual arrows. We kind of have to use our own what would you say, raycasting. Because if we're doing multiple bounces, there's no way we can change the arrow itself. So let's first do a basic. Okay. So if using the ability, then primary fire equals true, then ooh, we'll do this all in beams first. This will be cool. Hello, Galax Master. How are you doing? We'll do this in Aqua. Is going to be add the to multiply the wait a minute. So it's no, okay, start position is the I position of the event player. End position is add the I position to the facing direction of the event player times 1,000. Always a strange calculation. Oh wait, do we have to restart? I'm doing pretty good, Galax Master. I have a question. Do you know how to create modification damage for any specific ability? Yes, I do. Just give me a quick second. I just want to test this out real quick. So, modification damage for a specific ability. The easiest way to do that is to detect when the player is about to use an ability, and then you give them a damage boost for the duration of that ability, and then you cut it off. Now, there's going to be a few edge cases where there are abilities that last for a duration, which means that it'll overlap and maybe affect some other abilities, but that would be the simplest way.
With every death
you could.
comes honor. With honor,
Let me know if that answers your question. I could also go more in depth if you wish. Oh, we have to be using ability 2. Ooh. I think. Ugh. You would like to add this to a melee, so you just want to up the amount of damage for a melee? Yeah, so. I would. Are you trying to do an instant kill melee or just a higher damage melee? Do not reevaluate.
Arriving at Watchpoint Gibraltar.
with every death comes honor.
Ooh, that's so cool, honestly.
Redemption.
It's like a lifesaver. And it's only gonna work when, okay, so, okay, so you just want a higher amount of damage. So, let me see if I can quickly kind of figure this out for you. So, you could do, can't use using abilities, so you would have to say the button constant. So the damage dealt of one or players to a percentage of their damage dealt. And then sorry, I'm thinking it through first, and then I'll explain it more. So. Oh, oops. Alright, so now I might need someone to test, so if anyone could jump in, that would be cool, but I believe something along these lines should work. So this is just saying if we're holding down the melee button, we're going to set our damage to 200%, and then if we're not holding the melee button, reset it back to 100%. That's pretty key. Otherwise, you're going to, the first time you do it, you're going to set it to 200% and it'll stay there. And this will work as for melee because all characters in the game, if they're meleeing, they can't use an ability, which means that, and also the melee takes time to get into the animation. So it should give it time to update, and let me know if that works if no one comes in. But yeah. Oops. Yeah, let me know if that helped for you. Hello, Shrews. What's up? I have a question. I can't stay now, but is there any way to watch the VOD of this stream? I can come. You can. I mean, this should be on YouTube afterwards. Oh, cool. Yeah, so it's a Shrewsbury, open to everyone. In the America server.
Traveling to Horizon Lunar.
Looks like someone joined the game, but Made an oopsie.
With every death comes honor.
There we go.
With honor, redemption.
So that's set up now. So to recap, what we've done is besides the other quick script, the double the damage for melee, Scatter+Storm Arrow, we're working on an ability that will combine Scatter Arrow and Storm Arrow. So it's Storm Arrow, but each one of those arrows can bounce a few times within a room. So what we have right now is, if we're currently using ability 2, that's Storm Arrow. So because Storm Arrow is a channeled ability, it will stay active through the duration. So as long as we're activating it, anytime we're gonna hit the left click button, aka shoot a Storm Arrow. Right now we're just creating a beam effect. And just to show the first line, but now we're going to move on to making a second line come out from that position. So let's go ahead and take a variable. So let's do set player variable. We'll do A, B, and C for the the sake of this example, but understand that you could probably want to rename your own variables and things like that. So we're going to set this to be that raycast hit thing that we had before. So so we add oh boy, so yeah, the I position. So we have to start at the I position of the event player, and then we're going to add what they're looking at, if that makes sense. So we're going to add a multiplication of the facing direction of the event player and the number 1000. So it's really hard to explain. I had another video earlier on. This one was for the aimbot tutorial, if you want to just go back and look at that. But that's kind of how you get the raycast hit position. Well, actually, I might be totally wrong. I think we just used raycast hit position. Oh, we do have to do this. So we have to start at I position of the event player, and then we do that ray. So we need to add the I position to the multiplication of the facing direction of the player times 1000. Oops. And then let's go ahead and start using this variable just so we know that everything's good. So instead of using recalculating it, we're going to use player variable A. Let's see if this works. There's some echo in the room. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay.
With every death comes honor. With honor,
Whoa.
redemption.
So this looks pretty good. Now, yeah, so this is good. So what we are hoping for is that it stops at a wall and it doesn't continue on forever. So, oh wait, I want to do something. That is just awesome. Have you guys seen the videos of the guy who made like the map editor for Overwatch? I thought that was really cool. Dude, there's so much stuff you can do with this. Anywho, now that we have that, we can continue. So now that we have that first location, all we have to do is set player variable B to be like the second location. So we're gonna start working on that. To be this will be okay. So this is actually a lot simpler than it seems. So we're going to use that same raycast hit thing, except we're going to replace our facing direction with the normal of the surface that we are looking at for A. So the script is going to get long, but the concept is pretty simple. So so we're trying to get the location of the second thing. So it's still going to be a raycast hit position at this point because we're working on the location. And the start position is simply going to be player variable A. And then the end position is going to be, hey look, people mowing the lawn. It's going to be player variable A. Oh shoot, it is not. It's going to be add player variable A to the multiplication of the, all right. Oh, I hear someone. Just try not to kill me, that's all I ask, because it'll make the screen fade to black and it's really annoying. Unless they change that, it sounds like I just died. Okay, so now instead of getting the facing direction of us, we need to get the normal of another thing. So let's do this in another thing. Let's do X. Okay. So all we have to do is calculate X. I just wanted to break it out into a different block, if that makes sense. So X is going to equal the raycast hit normal. This is the new thing. So it's going to start from. Okay, so let me hop out to paint actually. So alright, so we got our wall. And then we got our scatter arrow over here. Let me draw us first. And right now we're trying to hit the wall and then bounce off. We're creating two beams. So first we have our location, really easy to calculate. And then we can do a raycast hit position to, let's use green for that. So we have our location is location 1. Location 2 is the raycast hit position, which is easy to calculate. And then we have location 3, which we're working on now. So if we can get this position using that raycast hit thing we did before, now we need this angle here, and that's using the raycast hit normal. So the raycast hit normal, it's going to start at our location and go to the wall, and we're going to return back the angle from it. So we're kind of going back a step, but that's why. So we're going to start at the eye position. We're going to end at player variable A. Let's actually, rather than doing that, we're going to end at, we're going to do the calculation again, just to make sure that we go far enough and it doesn't stop too early before it can connect to that wall. So add the eye position of the event player plus the multiplication of the facing direction of us times 1,000. Alright, so we gotta make sure we put that above, so we calculate x first. And then I'm going to copy this, paste it in, and we're gonna create a new beam effect that it's gonna start at player variable A, and it's going to go to player variable B. Okay, let me read the chat. Blizzard should add that. Yeah, I've been hoping for some sort of map editor. It's just like, I bet they don't want people making really stupid maps and that being all over social media and things like that. And they're like, oh, is Overwatch a stupid game now? I think they should rename the variables. Oh, yeah. Ideally, I should be renaming these variables. We can always just go back. I like how they have the feature where you can just directly change them. But yeah, it is good coding practice. I'm just simply demonstrating this. So, will the bounce beam be instantaneous? Wow. As of right now, yes. So we'll come back to that.
Traveling to Route 66.
Okay.
With every death comes
Here we go.
honor. With honor, redemption.
So looks like it's not working. Now we just have to figure out why. This is the fun part. So X isn't getting assigned to anything. That's one thing. Raycast hit normal. The surface normal of the raycast hit position start at the eye position. Ooh, that's global. That's one thing. Uh-oh, we have to do it all again. What is going on? Oh. To add the eye position times multiply the facing direction of times. Okay. Yeah, I was just setting the wrong variable. So let's see how it works.
Traveling to Hanamura.
Where's our Hanzo? There he is.
With every death comes honor. With honor, redemption.
I wonder if that's our second line. Oh, it kind of. You seeing this? It seems. I think we're doing our math wrong. It's almost. You seen this? So. Is it at least consistently incorrect? It's always going that way, which is the funny thing. Yeah. If Disney movies taught me anything, it's that you have to believe in yourself to do whatever you want. That's what I got too. So that's wrong-ish. Let you try just once. Yeah, if anyone wants to switch to it. Okay, I tested your scripts, but it doesn't work. Yeah, I'm getting there too. Wait, are you talking about the melee thing? Interesting. One second. Hey, Shrew, I'm working on a game mode called Overwatch Remix, which is a full rebalanced Overwatch. It also changes the way characters play. Neat. I'd be willing to look at it if you have the code, but yeah, it's cool to see other people's interpretations and where the game could be. Yeah, with that melee thing, let me see. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna punch our Genji dude, see how much damage it deals. That looks like the normal amount, right? So it seems like the normal is being set in, well, let's look this up. Alright, so there is something that we're forgetting about. So the normal is like D here, so we can't just do that. Like it needs to be the actual angle, but my math knowledge is failing me. So all right, hate to say it, but I'll probably give up on this. I'm just trying to explain how, like, it's possible. Because that was like a chat comment from the beginning of the stream. So yeah, it's definitely possible. I just don't want to waste too much time on it. It's trig, it's physics, it's angle in equals angle out. So you're probably going to have to adjust that angle that it comes out at to be something based on where the player is relative to that position that you're hitting, because otherwise it's just going to bounce out at the exact same angle based on the surface regardless of where you're at. And we know that's incorrect, because if I hit this, it's going to come straight back at me, where if I hit this, it's going to bounce out towards here. So